Hello everybody, welcome back. It is Connor and we are here to discuss Javi Gracia's general tactics. I know there's a lot of you who have probably been very inquisitive on exactly what to expect from this manager and this Leeds United side under his stewardship, so we're going to get into it today. So generally, everybody, I'm going to try break it down so it's pretty simple. So let's get into it. It is a 4-2-2 system, can be moulded into a 4-4-2. I want to focus a little bit primarily on Watford, because obviously Watford were in the Premier League, so it's probably going to be the biggest comparative. He did keep Watford up as well, which is fantastic to acknowledge, but a serious plan comes with Javi Gracia, and I think that's what we've seen from Watford fans, that's what we've seen from Valencia fans, that's what we've seen from even Al Sadd fans on the internet when they've been discussing that. Generally, he has a very serious plan, a meticulous plan that the players do stick to in a lot of general circumstances. In terms of how they build up his teams through possession, it goes through the double pivot, which in a Leeds United sense is going to be through Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, but this is something that we need to consider really, because I think this is where the passing sequences are going to start coming from. If Leeds are a little bit more expansive with the fullbacks, which we're going to discuss in a little bit, this is where Marc Roca is going to be so important, because in his Watford system, Etienne Capoue and Doucouré were fantastic together. What a partnership they were. And this is really something that really helped to galvanise Watford's charge up the Premier League, really. And obviously their cup run to the final where they were beaten. But yeah, Roca absolutely vital here. Capoue and Doucouré. The difference with these two is Doucouré, in my opinion, could play. Capoue could play as well. And they also had the mix of physicality. So I do think in a Javi Gracia double pivot, you do need physicality. So there's going to have to be a mixture there of Weston McKennie or a mixture of, Tyler Adams. But one of those three is probably going to miss out. Although he did, and we'll get onto this in just a little bit when we're talking about Gerard Deulofeu, he did move to a 4-3-3, or would consider moving to a 4-3-3, including a 3-5-2 as well. So there's a lot of pragmatism there. There's a lot of diversity when it comes to his tactical plan, which just shows the level of coach that he is, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. So when we look at the 4-4-2/4-2-2 system, is it compact? Of course it is. It is, and this is why people are comparing a lot of Javi Gracia's tactics to maybe Jesse Marsch's tactics, and we're going to get onto that in just a little bit as well. Leeds United fans, what you're going to see is the individual on the right, if we're playing a 4-2-2/4-4-2, the individual on the right is going to tuck in to make an inverted 3. That's what you're going to see. And the left-hand player on the other side is going to tuck in to make a front 3. So that's how Leeds are going to look going forward and in possession. At points, it's going to look like a 4-3-3. There's naturally going to be width from fullbacks, as you saw with Javi Gracia's Watford side. It was from Holebas on the left-hand side, and it was from Kiko Femenia on the right-hand side as well. So as we've just mentioned earlier on, the wingers are going to move inward. They're going to be inverted. So Nonto, Somerville, Sinistera, whoever, they're going to be inward. And the reason behind this is because he wants a very compact, narrow system in a way, mid to low block, so it helps transition a little bit easier. Deulofeu is going to move. Deulofeu was a clear example in this for Watford. He moved to a front 2 at points with Deeney and played some of the best football of his life and probably the best football in his career. The tactical flexibility, well, it'll depend on the opposition. He isn't stubborn. He isn't rigid to one system. As I've mentioned before, he can move to a 4-3-3, a 3-5-2, a 4-2-2-2. Very, very flexible. And I keep touching on Deulofeu, and the reason I keep touching on Deulofeu, obviously formerly of Everton and Barcelona before he went to Watford, was because this was the best football he'd played in his career. And this is what I see for someone like Willian Gnonto in terms of a style of player who has excellent balance, can use both feet, is very tricky, a low centre of gravity, and someone who I am comparing to Deulofeu. So Gracia said, in 2018, when Deulofeu came back from injury, he said that I am happy to move to a 4-3-3. Gerard gives us the option to do this. So it does give you that indication that he would move from different tactics, which is great to see, that we're not just going to be so reliant on one way of playing, which we have done previously. So another thing that I've noticed when doing a little bit of research on Javi Gracia is there's no real octane press. It's not going to be a unit press. It's not going to be hell for leather. It's not going to be Leeds moving out of position and essentially getting bypassed. It's not similar at all to Marsch/Bielsa in that respect. It's a low block. It's compact in central areas. The difference, I think, is that we're going to have a real defensive plan and we're going to maximise transitional moments. And I don't ever think, even under Bielsa, to be fair, that there was a real defensive plan. 100% there wasn't under Marsch. And I think Leeds are going to be very, very smart in pressing moments. And you're going to see a real utilisation of a direct play and plan when Leeds need to do that against certain oppositions. I think the key thing to note as well is the fullbacks. So they're not both going to fly forward. There's going to be one that goes forward and provide attacking moments and be almost that, that functional wing back who we see in many Premier League sides. And when Watford were utilising this, that was Jose Holebas. And the other will remain conservative and almost tuck in. And that was Kiko Femenia's role as well at a point. So they would switch. So one would fly forward. The other would be very, very conservative. The one thing I wanted to touch on as well is the man management, which I've noticed even when you've heard maybe Ben Foster. Ben Foster has done a little bit of an explanation on Twitter. Obviously, Ben Foster, formerly of Watford, formerly of Javi Gracia. He came in 2018 to Watford when Gracia was there. Apparently, he still texts Ben Foster now, even after he left. He's very calm and calculated, but when he needs to rant, he will rant. But apparently, all the players loved him, which is great to know. Because I think in a relegation scrap, that's absolutely key. Now, I can hear a lot of you screaming, it all sounds very marshy, it's compact, it's this, it's that, it's 4-2-2-2. I can understand that. There's a huge difference with Jesse Marsch's style of play to what Javi Gracia's was. Marsch, for me, had no flexibility. I think the flexibility in game was a lot down to the player, and I think it was very on vibes. It worked on, he worked on vibes in the Red Bull network, which I don't think allowed a lot of pragmatism or tactical ingenuity. It was stuck to one way of playing, and that was it. Now, you're going to play narrow with Gracia, but the fullbacks really provide width, and there is a plan going forward, as there is when Leeds are going to be in defensive moments as well. So when the wingers move into a narrow space, Gracia does enable tactical flexibility. You don't, as I've mentioned before, see a rigid idea like Marsch wanted. Marsch also, which is a key point, wanted absolute chaos. Wanted chaos, that was what he's essentially mentioned. Those frantic moments are something that Leeds were able to thrive on. And mostly with the unit press, Leeds flew forward, and a lot of the time in defence, you would just see Leeds chasing, wouldn't you? You'd see Leeds all attracted to the ball, and you'd see four defenders running after, the ball, and maybe that attacker would ping it off to the right. And I remember Bowen doing that against us for West Ham last year, where we'd all charge towards the ball, and then they'd pick it off to a winger, and it'd be in acres of space, based on moments, based on frantic chaos. This is not going to be the case with Gracia. He wants ultimate control. So that narrow attacking system is completely different to utter chaos with Marsch in a narrow system. So yeah, a structure to defend, a structure to attack, and a lot of pragmatism. There's a huge difference there. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it from me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you happy with Gracia? What do you think to the tactical imprint? Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.